Sometimes your body flows with the rest of your life, and sometimes it doesn't. But they affect each other, your body and your life, what I term as you. Your health, environment, community, and even greater society work together. You can try to figure things out on your own, but you also need other people. You need access to resources that help fill in the gaps. There are always questions. For example, how should you perceive what happens? What do you know? When do you need to change some things? Where and whom do you turn to for support? What can you do now and in the future to better your life and the people you love? It is a lot. You are not alone. I had to learn that too. 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Let me tell you my story. My very first mammogram was abnormal, and I needed a biopsy. It was 2011, and I was almost 40. Microcalcifications. I didn't want to bother anyone, so I drove myself. During the biopsy, I bled pretty badly, and my blood pressure tanked, so the staff put me in a recovery room for 2 hours. I couldn't lift my arm, but I had to go to work the next day. I had no paid sick days, no vacation days. Money was tight. A week later, my OBGYN called me at work and said one word: congratulations. On the way home from work, I stopped at a florist and bought myself a dozen yellow roses. I waited 3 years before another mammogram. Admittedly, not wise. 2014 mammogram, there was no obvious evidence of malignancy. January 2016 was a standard screening combo mammogram. This is both a 2D and a 3D at the same time. 3D mammograms are called digital breast tomosynthesis, or DBT. Evidently, these are better at detecting breast cancer in dense tissue. Results were large focus on microcalcifications of right breast. A week later, a diagnostic unilateral mammogram said indeterminate microcalcifications of right breast. Biopsy of these calcifications is suggested to exclude ductal carcinoma in situ. So I got a referral to a breast surgeon. April 2016. The breast surgeon performed a couple more scans. While I was waiting for test results, one morning I woke up and felt the lump in my right breast. One day it wasn't there, and the next day it was there. The breast surgeon and I talked in the exam room. I told her to skip the biopsy, knock me out, and take the entire lump. I got up the strength to call my parents. They live a couple of states away. Mom asked if she should come. I told her I had a ride to the procedure and back home, so she should wait. However, finances were strained. The family small business was unstable, but I had insurance through Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, healthcare.gov, whatever you want to call it. When I showed up for the surgery, I had a $200 copay. My breast surgeon said they would have to allow the surgery if I couldn't pay it, but the front desk said no. I scraped together the money. The surgeon got the lump. However, that Friday she called me. All she said was, I have an appointment Monday at 9 a.m. All I said was, okay. At home, dressing myself was difficult, so over the weekend I bought 3 button-up shirts and a very soft and loose pullover blouse. Monday, at the breast surgeon's office, my paperwork read, infiltrating ductal carcinoma with mucinous features. She scheduled surgery to take lymph nodes and take more tissue. Evidently, the tumor was estrogen sensitive, so the cancer needed estrogen to grow. I was referred to an oncologist. She told me to stop taking birth control since it contained estrogen. After stopping birth control, I got migraines on and off for months. When they came on, I could not do anything. I took the strongest OTC headache medication I could find and went to bed. Second surgery was about 2 weeks later, and my mom came to help. Again, another $200 to scrape together. Before the surgery, there was no sleeping. The surgeon took more tissue, tested the layers on site, and took lymph nodes under my arm. The surgeon told my mother that they got it all, which was very nice of her. I heard that my mother cried. There was a gap of a month or so between the surgeries and next steps in treatment. I had surgery follow-ups, and the area behind my right shoulder felt a bit numb, and I lost some strength in that arm. The area around the lymph nodes was sensitive. The oncologist recommended tamoxifen for 10 years and a few weeks of radiation. No chemotherapy, so I bought shampoo. At this point, I was referred to a radiologist. At home, I got a job about 30 minutes from home. There was a trial period through a temp agency, so no benefits yet. The job was in an unair-conditioned warehouse in the summer in Florida. It was rough. Radiation started out with an initial visit to line up the machine and tattoo some dots on my skin. Boy, those hurt. At my job, my schedule changed. I trained during the day, but was supposed to transition to night shift. That did not happen. The boss seemed confused by my confusion. At the radiologist, we set the treatment schedule. 4 weeks, every weekday morning. The job was in the opposite direction from the radiology appointments. I had hoped to work at night to rest before work. At the job, the boss said he would call with my schedule. When I didn't hear from him, I called him. All he said was, "Get well," and hung up. That kind of sucked, but I was glad to rest. The first 2 weeks of radiation went pretty well. I drove myself, ate the cookies in the waiting room, met the emotional support dog, and a financial counselor. There was no financial assistance for me. The oncologist told me not to lose weight, but I didn't eat as much. In the waiting room, I talked with other patients. Some of them are really suffering from radiation. At home, I rubbed fresh aloe on my right breast, which helped a lot. And then I got back to some of my routine. However, the radiologist told me not to wear wire bras, but that was all I had. So I wore a wire bra one night. The pain was so bad it woke me up. So I had to give away a drawer full of wire bras and buy a soft one. The last couple of weeks of radiation, I got really tired. I didn't do much except go to treatment, eat, and sleep. After the last treatment, I got a completion certificate. Follow-up appointments were complicated. My breast surgeon, radiologist, oncologist, OBGYN, and GP wanted follow-ups. I was also taking lisinopril for high blood pressure, so I was keeping track of a couple of medications now. It was a lot. Over the next year or two, I worked several temp assignments. When one ended, I worried about finances until I got another one. After a hurricane ended one of the assignments, I stood outside in line in the heat for food cards. Then a presidential election threatened my health insurance. I had follow-ups for questionable mammograms. Everything was fine. I had scar tissue, which stayed tight for years. Eventually, I got a permanent full-time job about an hour away by car. I did get health insurance, but no sick days and no vacation days. The job was listed as a temp job, even though I worked there for 4.5 years. I could not take off a bunch of time for doctor's appointments because I would lose food money. I was trying to support 2 adults. During those 4.5 years, stress overtook my body. At home, my mattress was old, so I transitioned to sleeping on an air mattress. The washer broke, so I did all household laundry at the laundromat. The kitchen drain no longer worked, so I dumped 5-gallon wastewater buckets in the lawn. I fought roaches. I cooked in the microwave and a toaster oven when we ran out of cooking gas. Grass in the backyard grew to 6 feet tall because someone else stopped cutting it. I could not physically cut it. Commuting was exhausting, and I couldn't afford to move any closer. Weekends, I slept for 11 and a half hours a night. I was on the verge of homelessness and stretching the grocery budget till it screamed. I got really tired of noodles and dollar bags of vegetables. Sleep was difficult. My household situation was almost out of control. Stress was bad enough to put me on medications, so now I was managing 3 different medications. Eventually, I asked the oncologist if I could do all my medical care through them. Yes. Sometimes on the weekends, I would go to the urgent care clinic if I needed lisinopril. I gave up the dentist and reused dental floss. Throughout these years, I applied for jobs with sick days and vacation days, or at least closer to home. No luck. During COVID, I worked from home for a little while. I saved the commuting money and the government assistance. My goal was to get out of my living situation. Eventually, I did, but I was sleeping anywhere else I could. After a couple of months, I found stable housing, but I was stalked. Police and sheriff showed up, but no pleading on my part helped with prosecution or restraining orders. So I got some mace, a metal pipe under my bed, and I made plans to hide. Once I did have to hide at someone else's house. I spent time with friends and family and rekindled some of my favorite hobbies. Finally, I got a job closer to home with sick days and vacation days. I went to the dentist, took my medications, and got mammograms. After another year, through no fault of my own, I lost my job. Again, worked part-time and temp assignments. Went back on Obamacare. Healthcare was crazy. Costs went up and benefits went down. At the OBGYN, they scheduled an ultrasound because tamoxifen increases the risk of uterine cancer. He removed a polyp. Closer to the 10-year mark, the conversations with my oncology office became anticlimactic. I asked whether I would have any symptoms from stopping the tamoxifen. All she said was, "You may feel better." All the PA said was, "I would say on June 30th, just stop taking it. Then we'll see you annually instead of every 6 months." Just like that. No fanfare, no tapering, just stop. I did. Celebrating 10 years cancer-free, my last tamoxifen.
Yay!
Salud. All right, here it is. Let's go. Let's do this. Done. I'm done. I did it. I'm done. No more. Medication is gone. Wish me luck. I'm gonna go swim now. Bye. Some recent mammograms and ultrasounds show some concerns in my other breasts, so I will need follow-ups every 6 months. But I still have health insurance for now. We'll see what happens. So stay diligent. Reach out to your people. It's okay to ask questions, rethink decisions, and structure your entire life in a healthy way. I started this channel because we all need a community to help us.
Rolling.
Okay, speech. So I am 54 years old, celebrating 10 years cancer-free with a beautiful fruit tart, and I'm gonna blow out the candles and make a wish because this is a day to celebrate. I'm so excited, you have no idea. Okay, wish.
Yes.
Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Comment something useful because none of us have time for nonsense right now. Stay safe. I'm Wanda Frazier with Your Body and You.